Howdy, howdy. How's it going? I realized that might have been kind of a long starting screen, so we're learning. But welcome back. Well, actually, so I realized yesterday, I think I forgot to save the VOD or didn't enable that setting, so hopefully it should save today. But so I should probably then reintroduce myself since only a small handful of people actually saw that yesterday. So hopefully, as a test run yesterday, so be a little bit quicker with it. But my name is Mitchell Spendlove, and I want to make the world a better place using math, to put it succinctly. And so towards that end, I'm starting this project, which I call PUNKONOMICS. Its name, the aesthetic, not the most punk thing in the traditional sense, but in its spirit, I feel it's very punk because it's all about just using the tools that I have and that you have to just go out there and make a difference, and make this world a better place. And I don't know what's more punk than that. So to be a bit more specific with it, I got my degree in applied math, my bachelor's. And while I've been applying for these economic research positions, trying to kind of pivot, bridge that gap into that world, I decided I think I have the tools to at least get started, to at least keep learning on my own, while I continue to seek those opportunities. And just doing with that thought and building on it has led to this project. We'll be conducting research, and I really want to focus on documenting the methodology of my research as well. So that not only will I be producing research and everything, but really the main focus I want for this project is to lower some of those barriers to entry for academic research. Again, I feel like academia and the research in that world can sometimes be a black box, and I want to may not be mixing metaphors, but I want to crack open that black box a little bit, and I don't have all of the knowledge in how that works, but that is my goal here, is to build off what I do know and to learn together, and to show you at least how I learn. We are currently working on, as you can see in the bottom right corner, we're currently working on answering questions regarding whether or not the United States should implement some sort of requirement on the proportion of Spanish speakers, Spanish English bilinguals, working in kind of public and civic service jobs. And just to kind of quickly go through, again, as apologies if you heard this yesterday, but just to document it for anyone who is curious, who wasn't here yesterday. I feel like a really important part of the research process is first deciding how to choose a question, right? And sometimes, again, that can feel a little mysterious, but it's honestly just comes down to the basic answer, just it's your curiosity, right? And it's your curiosity mixed with your lived experience. The things that you see in your day-to-day life that you either wonder how that works, or you feel like that might be able to be improved or be made better. Just learning how to kind of take a beat and recognize, I can actually look into that myself, and I can contribute to our understanding of that topic, is, I think, kind of the first part of the research process, at least in my experience. And so this question was inspired by kind of primarily, or initially, by my service as a missionary for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints with Spanish-speaking people in Baltimore, Maryland, where I was asked to like evangelize as well as serve and just be with and listen to largely the experiences of Spanish speakers in the United States, primarily Spanish speakers. And through that experience, that's really kind of the first time I like sat with that community and still from a very much an outsider perspective, but saw some of the challenges that come from being primarily a Spanish speaker in the United States, and as well as being an immigrant, particularly a Latino immigrant from within the United States. And those experiences and those feelings I had at that time have sat with me. And so as I've been applying to these different positions I mentioned, some of them have been with different governments. In particular, looked at positions with the Canadian government, the U.S. government. And as looking into those different positions, I found that a lot of the Canadian jobs required French bilingualism, whereas almost none of the U.S. government jobs required Spanish bilingualism, which was interesting to me. I felt in my just, unresearched perception that the rates, the prevalences of the two languages in the countries weren't that dissimilar. And yet there was that discrepancy in how the two different governments were setting up their services to meet the needs of the people within their jurisdictions. And so that's what's led me to this current research project. Again, hopefully I can, I don't have to rehash. Just to quickly go through it. So far, I've mostly just gotten my footing. So you haven't missed too much yet. But mostly just getting data and finding the data off of the two different governments' respective U.S. Census Bureau website and Statistics Canada website to get their census data in order to basically create these two graphs. But the main thing is clean up and process that data so I can work with it going forward in this project. And so inspired by this preliminary data that I gathered and I processed has led me to my current step in this project, which is actually jumping off of that experience in a more direct way I had and taking those job listings I was seeing on the government jobs and pairing them up with the regions they would be serving. And through that pairing up, thereby be able to compare, does there seem to be some sort of qualitative or quantitative difference? Hopefully be able to perform some statistical analysis on this once we've gathered this data that would indicate that Canada seems to have some sort of, if not legislated, at least socio-cultural threshold on how many, what's prevalence of French speaking is required in a region in order for them to put that into requirement for that job versus the United States, if there seems to be different thresholds. And again, all of this is really towards the end of, frankly, that research question isn't the best as it stands. Kind of the key word is it's not very operationalized. It's the fancy vocab word for the day. But what that means is that there's not very clear parameters that I can actually test, right? It's an idea, but you can't really experiment with it. You can't actually definitively say, like, I haven't really put out in clear, testable terms what I mean by worthwhile is kind of the big one. And I think that's okay for starting out, is that you don't have to have this perfect research question. You can just have the beginnings of one, and then as you dive into actually be able answering it, you can refine that question. And so that's the process I'm trying to engage with here. So that's all to say towards that end, to further refine that question and again, just keep digging into this topic. Yesterday, we started the very basics of this web scraper. Hopefully today will be a little bit more interesting. It'll go a little smoother, as I was mostly getting my bearings on the very, very basics of like HTML and things like that. But fortunately, we concluded yesterday with getting kind of the first object that we wanted. So this is the Canada website that lists all of the government jobs, which, I mean, kind of baseline, I think it's super cool. It's a really cool resource to have. And the US has one as well, at usajobs.gov. Unfortunately, yesterday, there is some sort of bug or something where the parser wasn't able to actually see the search results for the US site. And I haven't had time to figure that out. And I don't know, I'm still kind of trying to figure out whether I should address that on stream or not, how interesting and meaningful that would be. But for now, for today, well, I think we have more we can do with the Canadian site. And so that's what we focus on today, is just working with that data. And so yesterday we successfully finally got, we're able to isolate a single job listing. We're able to get this article, select that, which, it's still in our terminal. Cool. And this is as far as we got. So this is where we're picking up today. But yeah, so you're all caught up, and now let's figure out how to keep going from here. Okay. I think a really key part of this, we have to loop through all of the listings on this page, and then I believe we'll also need to do a larger loop, unless there's some more clever way to do it within just a single page, but that will somehow loop through multiple pages, because obviously you can't just list 62,000 results on a single web page. But for now, I think I'll first focus on just getting the loop for this single page working, and kind of extracting these links within the page that actually link to the respective job listing. Okay, that's good to know. Okay. Let's reload, and we'll probably, it's actually a thought I hadn't had, but we'll actually need to probably resave the HTML once we actually get going, to have the most up-to-date data. Again, it shouldn't matter that much. It's probably plus or minus 100, which compared to the 62,000 isn't that big. But I don't know. Anyways, okay. So let's first see if we can extract just that hyperlink, the href, from this HTML object. Let's see here. Okay, yeah, so it's right there. And then, this is important. Yesterday, I introduced it, but we're following this very helpful guide by Brendan Martin, which I found just by Googling how to build a web scraper, and this came up pretty quickly. So it's pretty cool that they just posted this freely, and it seems to be he's got us this far. So seems like a great resource. So they're working with this All Sides website as their example, but let's see if we can access this href object, I think, is going to be kind of the key thing we're looking for. Okay, I don't know why that closed out. That's okay. Okay, all right. So, okay, here we go. Okay, so within this article object, so this action button, okay, cool. I need to, okay. Here we go, okay. So we have, this action button, so this is the list. We have currently a list of each of the search results, and now we need to extract the href from those objects. So is that going to be just as simple as, let's see. So, okay, so we know this is working now. So what does this return? Let's see. Like search results. That's what I hope. But then let's see here. I think that's just a list of strings at that point. Let's see if we can. So I'm really just trying to figure out, again, how I'm worried that this kind of takes us out of the useful framework, kind of useful architecture and structure that our beautiful soup, the beautiful soup package we're using to parse everything, that kind of sets up for us. Basically kind of, if there's some way to not yet leave that architecture, if that's actually not that big of a problem. So right now I'm just seeing, okay, just double check. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be like a string, which is just like text, which would mean that's like left the useful framework of our beautiful soup object, but I'm just testing it just to double check. Oh no, okay. It's still processing it as a beautiful soup object. Okay, that's cool. Excuse me, geez. Okay, so does that mean then we can, so let's get rid of this type object, there's type function. Does that mean we can then, if I do select, and then, let's see here. I think it would be like .href, I believe. Or actually, I think he actually goes through it, how to get like the hypertext or the link from okay, cool, yeah. So yeah, he has an href. Although he's only interested in after the actual href. So that might not be as useful. Let's see. New source page link. We also need the link. Okay, here we go. Okay. Okay, he like indexes it by href. Let's see. So we also need the link to this new source page. If you look back at the HTML, we'll see that in this case, we do want to select the anchor in order to get the href that contains the link. Okay. And so I think this A, that's like, I apologize, I'm not that familiar with HTML, but that's what he's calling an anchor. So if we do select 1A on this object. Will that give us what we're looking for? Let's see. Let's see. And href. That's a little hard for me to parse that right away. Let's see. Okay, wait, hang on. I think that's exactly what we want. Cool. Okay. Shout out Brendan again for making that link, that article for us. Okay, cool. So cool. Yeah. So we selected this anchor object, and from that we've indexed as href. That's good to know, is we can just like, once we have an object, we can just kind of, that's an interesting notation, that like bracket. I'm not that familiar with that in like other Python contexts, but it's working for us. So heck yeah. So I think then, let's see. Okay, yeah. So, and that's also what Brendan does. But you then need to append that href to the current URL in order to actually access that new page, which is straightforward enough. So let's actually keep this candidate URL object uncommented, because we need that now. And I think we're kind of in the clear to start actually looping. So yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to loop for through the results in this list, and then yeah, okay, like result URL, and this is where, oh, actually, we probably don't want to index, we don't actually need to operate on that result itself. So instead we'll just create this more abstract number that we'll be looping through in range length. So yeah, this will just like more abstractly give a number to each position in our search result, and then we can just index by that, which will be nicer. I'll just test this out real fast, just to make sure. It doesn't hurt to just test out, especially while I'm doing something new. And I think that's looking okay. Yeah, I was like, what part's new? Yeah, I think that's looking good. So cool. Okay, heck yeah. Because now we can basically actually append that to our result. Actually, hang on. I should just do this. So now make our result URL equal to, so the candidate, the full URL that we're actually interested in. So candidate URL plus what we're originally calling the result URL. I don't know. Hopefully that's clean enough syntax, robust enough, but cool. Okay. And then I think we're now to the point, which is kind of exciting, that now we at least for this page, right? We might again have to do like a larger loop. I don't know if there's a more efficient way to do this. Okay, maybe we'll worry about that in a sec. But again, without having to loop through all these different, pages of the search results. But I think what I'm worried about is if our this code we're making is going to so there's this concept which if you've coded before, it's familiar to you, but if not, the big O notation of an algorithm, which just talks about how the runtime scales in proportion to the size of the data that you're working with. And the ideal is if you have linear time, which, just is kind of 1-to-1. But you run into some risk of getting to n squared if you start nesting for loops. But I think ours is okay because it's really just, it's we're not actually going to be like squaring anything. It's just the way we're going to get like the N of the full search results. We're not like doing something with all the search results and then something else within each step with all search results. Which would then, the square, I don't know how visible that is, but the square is where the N squared comes from. So I think we're chilling with that idea. And so anyways, I think we're just working on a single results page right now. I think what we do next... So I'm also so I'm just kind of walking you through all my thoughts. I'm also trying to be very cognizant of the very first thing that Brendan puts in his article, which is, again, how to not overload the website with requests, which you can run the risk of if you if you request something within a for loop. So I think how I'll deal with that is... I do need to loop through it, but I'll just loop through it once and save those results locally, and then we'll read those in for future loops. I think that should be, etiquette enough. So let's see here. Okay. So yeah, we have to... First, let's see here. We have to create this requests object. It's our result, request result, which is .get of our current URL. And then if we do our result.content, then that's the HTML of that URL. And then the path we'll save that to is again, for now, we'll just do result, and I think this is the best, but yeah, results underscore, and we'll just format the string to just fill in that blank we kind of left with the current index we're on. I think that'll be, we can simply undo that when we read it in. Although, let's see here. Actually, I think I want to, because I think, got a little rainbow circle. Okay. Yeah, that would just flood this directory. So I think I could do this in the terminal, but whatever. It's just as easy to do this. So I think I'm just going to create a new directory, call it Canada search results, that we'll save these into so that we're not, it's a little bit more readable for us later. So then here we need to, index by, or change our path to Canada search results / I think. We'll just test it out. And actually to test it out, I'll just do, again, just so I don't accidentally do anything bad, I'll just have it do one. Let's see. Okay, and then does that put it... Okay, cool, sweet, okay. So yeah, let's actually do the full list. And let's do it. Let's see. Oh wow, that's pretty slow. That's really slow. That's not great. This is really, really slow. Dang, okay. Man. Jeez, hang on. Okay, so what did... Yeah, that's very bad. Okay. It took that long to do 24 results, and we want to do 62,000. Man. Again, I could do that, and especially because... Mr. Thunder Chief 11 asks, are you completely self-taught? Yeah. I am self-taught. I had help. So I was self-taught in that while I was doing some research projects, my undergraduate, I need to use Python to accomplish a lot of them. And so I had this really, I can show you as while we're talking about it. It was looking into, oh, hello. Let's see. There you go. Yeah. So this Jerry chain package, looking into how to prevent gerrymandering and when it comes to redistricting or voting districts in the United States, how to mathematically analyze if they're fair, right? If they're actually representing the voice of the people. Anyways, so it was from this documentation that, and they have this really great, let's see. Yeah, getting started, they walk you through. And it was just from this website, this documentation that I kind of reverse engineered what they were doing. I'm trying to think. I think I had. Anyways, it's kind of a long story, but yeah, mostly self-taught. I had a professor to kind of walk me through some of the questions I had, but which I'm grateful for and definitely contributed to my current abilities. But yeah, so apologies though if I'm missing some. And then after I've learned Python, then I took a CS course in algorithms. So that's where I know some of those terminology for those different things. So yeah, okay. Thanks for asking though. Okay, yeah. So, I'm back to being worried about how long this is going to take. Again, because we're saving it, again, it's not going to be, we don't have to do this every time. So, we can kind of bite the bullet once. But again, so I'm pretty sure this is going to be linear time. So we can just quickly just do some calculus. So a really nice package is this TQDM. I actually don't know what it stands for, but it's basically gives you this nice. It's not the most. You probably shouldn't include it in your final code by any means, but when you're testing things out, basically gives this clock or progress bar. There, that's what I was looking for any loop that you put into it. I don't think I've installed it on this machine. Okay, that's weird. Well, I guess it's been a sec since I've actually programmed in Python, but so the reason I'm doing this is just to get a precise timing of how long it's taking. And what's nice is they give an iteration per second, so we could compute it ourselves, but they just average it anyways. So it takes about a second per iteration. It's 1.18. So if just again assume I'm fairly confident this is linear. So 1.18 times 62, 500. I don't know why I did the comma. Let's see what that's going to translate to in terms of minutes. Ooh, in terms of hours. Ooh, okay. Yeah, that's a full day. Oh, man. Let's see if Brendan has any sage wisdom for us in these trying times. So I think that the reason why I'm worried is I think that it's just how long that request object, this package takes to read, like access a web page and get its information. Which again, that may make sense like on an intuitive level. That wouldn't be, that'd be the slowest part of it. So I'm worried that there's just nothing we can do to make that faster, but we'll see. Again, 20 hours is like, okay, in the grand scheme of things, right? It's doable, you know, it's not, you know, longer than the lifetime of the universe, which, you know, you can run into. So that's good. That is, you know, a doable scale, but let's see if there's anything we can do. Request, we need to, okay, so yeah, we're down a bit again. Again, yeah, for his project, he's not actually like going through, okay, sorry, I'm just reading. This is, oh, it's like a dictionary. Okay, that's why, okay. Anyways, but he doesn't actually like go through the link that he's getting from these hrefs. So for him, it's just as simple as just getting these like text, these strings from the object he's already saved locally, which is a lot faster. After we extract, we only want to see the last part of the URL. Yeah. Agree, disagree. Again, yeah, these are just like different examples, which is cool, but like how to like access different elements from the page. Oh, okay. Well, this might be useful later. We'll put a pin in that. If we run into something that's like written through JavaScript, it's nice to know that. Like I was worried. That was an issue I was worried about yesterday, which fortunately we didn't have to actually deal with. But let's see. Okay. And this all seems really useful to know eventually, but requesting and parsing multiple pages. Okay, let's see here. Notice URLs for each page follow a pattern. First page parameters. Right now, the easiest way to get all pages is to manually make a list and loop over them. And see again, okay, this is kind of what I was thinking of doing on that larger scale. Ooh, actually, I hope. Ooh, I feel bad. I think I accidentally. Oh man, it's also going to take longer then. Oh yeah. So sorry. Let me say what I'm thinking. So on each website, there's something called the robots.txt file, which is like specifically for us in our context. Which is when you're building a web scraper, kind of the rules they have. So some of them, so this is like a super simple one for the Canadian website. The US website has a little bit more to it in terms of like permissions. So it's like pages that you're allowed to access versus ones you're not allowed to access. And the US one doesn't have actually any restriction on it, which is interesting, but the Canadian one asks that you wait 5 seconds between each request you send in, which I feel bad I did not do with this loop. Like, unfortunately, it wasn't that long. It wasn't that many requests, but that's gonna kind of be a problem. It's gonna put a hard limit on it because we should actually do 5 seconds between, which then. So at this point, because I think it would be cool to not have to wait. Hello. Let's see. So I'm just seeing how many days. Yeah, like half a week to get the results. I think that's a bot, but we'll see. In the chat, sorry. But so the other option we have then is just to not do the full website, right? Which again, for our purposes, for just like starting out, again, I don't think it's gonna be, it's, it's definitely doable. And like maybe, again, while we're just getting our code up and running, we should just do it as like a very small size. And then just once we like sure, we have all of the things we need, we're interested in, and like this is actually going to be working for us, then we can bite the bullet on a larger sample size. Because, so the main consideration here then is, I mentioned this yesterday, but with the analysis that we're going to be doing, right? With the analysis we're going to be doing, where we're just taking these job listings, pairing them up with the region that they'd be servicing, and then wanting to do like statistics on that. We're making an assumption that the current job listings on these sites are a random sample, right? That they're unbiased, that they are a random sample of like all of the jobs that within these governments, right? Which is an assumption, right? And one, again, if you have thoughts about why that's not like a fair assumption, I would love to hear it, so we could address it. But again, I can't really think of why that wouldn't be a fair assumption. But then the issue we run into is, so I mean, one, that, just the natural basic rules of, consequences and statistics of having a smaller sample size means higher variance, means less confidence in our results. So, any results we get, we're going to be less sure that that's the true reality of it. Which, I think having 1,000 circa, instead of 60,000, having 1,000 in that order of magnitude, I don't think would be the end of the world. And again, like this is all got, we can actually work out once we have an idea of what the tests are that we want to do. Math gives us a tool, which is really cool, honestly, but to actually be able to like put numbers, okay, we need at least this sample size in order to have these attributes to our test. And also, yeah. So, I mean, the US site, let's see. The US site, oh, that's the Canada one. All right, let's just pull it up. There we go. You do have to restrict your search to different positions or different kind of categories and tags. So the US site, we have to, I just chose for the first one, this open to the public, which, again, we want to make sure our data are matching each other in the kinds of jobs, which at that point might start to get pretty tricky. So, originally I was just planning, we'll just do all of the Canada jobs, and then the US site will just, in the end, do all the USA jobs by just going through the different, basically this is talking about security clearance. Open to the public means that, anyone, usually US citizen, but anyone can apply to these positions. Whereas different jobs on the site, let's see here, like hiring path, I think is what I selected. Yeah. You have to have certain like clearances already, right? So, you have to have like clearances by the federal government. You have to be in the military, all these different things, right? But that means that, so I thought, these are kind of the same order of magnitude of, if we were to just drop a 0 on the Canada site, but I don't think it would be as fair to then compare those two samples together, because I feel like we could easily be introducing bias by just looking at the public ones on the US site. And then the other concerns. So I'm just talking to all the concerns, and then we can actually start working on how to address them. So I'm just going to complain, but just kind of getting them all up, just make sure I'm not missing anything. But the other thing is, I need to also then see if we're just only going to do the first 6,000 instead of all of the listings on the Canadian site. I need to see how they're ordering their jobs, because that might introduce bias, right? If it's by date, which maybe that's what it is. If it's by date of posting, I think that should be fine, right? I mean, that's kind of going back to our just original assumption that, if we were just take the full website, that the job listings on any given day of the year will be mostly representative of the listings and all the positions for all of the year. And so just kind of limiting in our scope a little bit further. It's going to introduce more variance, but I don't think it should make it biased. Which those terms mostly mean the intuitive thing, as they do in English. So we can get into a little bit more the mathematical definitions as we actually, once we perform statistical analysis. But for now, just, your intuition's serving you well for those terms. But yeah, so okay, yeah. So the one we can check a little easier, I think, is how they're listing their jobs. So I mean, the worry would be oh, they put all of this type of job first and this type of job second, right? But sort of my best match. Okay, let's just do. Okay, cool. There we go. We can just sort it how we want. Date posted. And I trust that's giving us what we want. Also actually, what are these different? Let's see. Okay, they further subdivide it, which I think will actually be maybe nice, but I mean, we'll have to, I think, go through the pages anyways to actually see, but I think they're listing it by the region, which is what we actually are ultimately interested in. I'm not familiar with the different logos. I don't know if this is a province's flag or, and this is obviously, that's not a flag, but okay, these might just then be different organizations within, but also this is not, I don't know how to get what if I just do page 2? So I'm just trying to figure out how to get our scraper to actually meaningfully iterate through these listings without, so I don't think that that clicking more options is that practical of a solution. Let's see. So this goes into home support worker. And then if I do 2, or actually let's first see. So after home support worker, it goes to general labor farm. Whereas if I do page 2, it starts there. Cool. Okay, that's great. We can actually iterate through the pages nicely through just the URL, which is awesome. That's great for us. So Okay, I think this is good enough for now to kind of keep moving. Again, with this sorting by date, and how many minutes is that? I mean, that's already gonna be a lot of minutes. Okay. Well, I have some of the HTML saved. So maybe we can just... Yeah, I think we'll just... so what I'm thinking through is kind of balancing the workflow, right? Of like how to best use my time. Because at some point I do need to set this code running to start parsing through, again, even just 600, which I think that would be too small. Again, just like that's super gut, right? Like, I need to actually do the math to see, and small is relative. It's just how precise we want our answers to be. But I mean, if we have the option of theoretically getting 60,000 and we only do 100th of that seems like a bummer. So, but anyways, so eventually I'll need to set the code running. But I think I'll just do that like after we're done for today. Because we have some results, right? Like if it's going to work, if whatever we do with the results afterwards works for 25, it's going to work for 600 or 6,000, right? Like it'll just take longer, but I think what we currently have is enough to kind of keep on trucking with our current project. So let's see here. Cool. So we've saved that, and so we'll just kind of comment that out. We'll need that later when we actually get when we actually get more of those pages like we've been talking about. But for now, I think we'll be okay. So now what we want to do is just read in what we've already saved and then parse those pages. So let's actually just work with one of them right now, and then we'll just put it into loop, because I hope and I imagine that, again, these pages are going to be pretty uniform. Let's see. Here, I'll just... Okay, what was the URL that I actually sent through? Let's see here. Okay, I think they're all going to be the same. So I'll just click through one of them and we can start figuring out where the things are that we actually want. I'm actually just realizing a pretty big problem, which is like a fundamental thing. And by the, I don't know, again, maybe just taking a step back and to make this a little bit more useful and interesting. At least in my experience, this is like a lot of the research process. As you go, you run into a problem, and you have to take a sec to make sure you understand the problem before you can come up with a solution to it, right? And so the new issue, heck yeah, okay. So I was just gonna say, I don't see, again, the whole point of this was to like get what region is this job servicing, right? And I was like, I don't know if this actually states it clearly in like a parsable way. Like you might have to like infer it, but I think it does, which is amazing, and I don't think actually would be a given. So, yeah, okay. So, I mean, this is like the region it's in, I guess, though. Here, I'll just close this for a sec, just while we kind of get our handle on this kind of more abstract issue. Okay, so it's over here, the actual full page. So if we go back, so let's see. So, okay, wow, these change pretty frequently. Which I mean, I don't know, isn't that surprising with 62,000? Oh wow, actually, hang on. These are not government jobs. That's okay. That's very good to know. Because McDonald's is not a government agency. At least I don't think in Canada McDonald's is a government agency. Okay, that's good to know. Job source. Exclude. Okay, cool. Ooh, but also, okay. There are far fewer jobs. Which pros and cons? We can for sure get all of these results. That's good. Cons, obviously, that's a lot less. But, you know, it is also more accurate to what I actually care about. But wow, really? Hang on. I'm trying to see if these are still all the U.S. government jobs. Because now that's really high. That's a huge number. I think this isn't even all of them. So just one's open to the public. And again, this might, like, I kind of assumed that this would also be like, oh, I was misunderstanding this, and it's just like a general job data bank, like a job bank for the US, like the Canadian website actually is. But it looks like it's all government jobs. Like, not like federal government jobs, which is really weird. Why are there so many? What? That's so weird. Like, pass. Let's just see if we can find like just the basic site, if it tells us what it's all about actually. Yeah, find your federal government job. And there's 8,000 open. What the heck? And like, again, this is like, one of them is like sports instructor. Like, I mean, not like, you know, like that's, you know, is not just like these like high positions, right? It's general jobs being provided by the government. And even then, you know, like down to municipal government. What the heck? Because just what the heck? I'll see if there's another site, but I'm like pretty sure that, I don't know, I'll look, but like every time I like looked at the Canadian job, especially ones with the government, it like brought me back to that same jobbank.gc.canada. We'll see. So Canadian federal jobs. Ooh, jobs. Opportunities to work for the federal government. Find government jobs. Oh, okay. That's still low, but I guess this is a different. Let's see, organization. Okay. That's right. I've seen this website before. And so this, I guess I just, maybe we shouldn't worry about this site then, since basically I don't want to like double dip on the same job, right? And it might be a little bit of a headache to like verify if we have double dipped. But also this is lower, actually, so this actually isn't solving the mystery. That's real weird. That's super weird. Finding jobs in the government of Canada. Like, this seems pretty general. I'll maybe double check that it is as general as it seems, but student jobs. Like, are these taking me to the same website? So that's the job bank. So yeah, across Canada. So yeah, that's what we're looking at, or this job bank. For the government. I'm not seeing. So like find a job in the military. I'm just kind of seeing. Oh man, yeah. There might not be as centralized of like a database for the jobs by the Canadian government. Which, yeah. I don't know. I mean, already, like, I don't know. A lot of this was just kind of just jumping in to like learn how to build the web scraper, which I think, frankly, like we're good, which is cool. Honestly, like I maybe take I can take a sec for myself from all these headaches I'm realizing I'm walking into, but just to realize like that's I think it's as simple as that largely for building a web scraper, which is cool, which is super cool. Our issue now is just like how to use the web scraper and how to get the data we want, because again, even the Canadian federal jobs seem scattered around, but it's also kind of sweeping under the rug for my, for the sake of just learning how to do the skill. But, it is important to address at some point that it would, in order to actually meaningfully get a sample of like public, civic service jobs, like most of the jobs that you're going to be encountering, working with like on a government level, that like a citizen, like an average person would interact with, would be at like a state and especially a municipal level. And the state and, provincial, right, for Canada, that's doable, right? Like I would hope that each state has some sort of resource. Each province has some sort of resource for the centralized location for those jobs. But, municipal government jobs, like that's you have to start actually. You can't like just get all of them, or sample from all of them. So I'm just trying to think if this kind of. So we're really taking a top-down approach right now. Of like, okay, let's just look at like all of the jobs, and then just assuming that's going to be a meaningful representation of what is actually filtering down and affecting like day-to-day people. And it's gut instinct that feels still more manageable and more quantifiable than working bottom up, especially like as an independent researcher, because I'm just trying to think of how you could access the data for like a bottom-up approach of like, again, okay, like actually focus on the people and seeing what positions people are interacting with, right? But at least the first thought I'm having a hard time thinking of another way to do that is like, just you have to like survey people and interview people, right? Like, again, like any kind of bottom up research requires, again, a lot of actually just like, basically it's like, I think that's largely infeasible for an independent researcher. Like maybe, so like, I could like design a survey and send it out, but like, I feel like I don't have any guarantee. I feel like you just, like, I feel like it's just very difficult for someone with as, little authority and small of reach, as an average Joe like myself, to like bypass issues of like sampling bias, right? Where, if I send out, basic idea, send out a survey on like the internet or, like just try to post it publicly somehow, like it's super easy for people to like just not respond if they're not interested in it. Which again, just like inherently just would lead to like a lot of bias that I'd have to account for. But like the U.S. Census Bureau gets around by like it being like very, one, extremely thorough, and two, having like the authority of a government behind it. So, okay, maybe let's just see, like, so I'm in Utah. So just kind of, again, getting a bearing on like, okay, how big a problem is this actually? I'll just see what resources Utah has. Let's see. Workforce services to help you support your family. Let's see what kind of jobs it looks like they have. If I just, okay. Yeah, it's kind of a bummer that you have to actually, I mean, it makes sense because it's not for this purpose. I mean, if I just do job, will that give me some general things? Let's see. Oh, okay. Here, just to not dox myself too bad, I'll just look up. It's like downtown Salt Lake, zip code. Let's see. Whatever, I'll just do one of these. 841 something. 4122. I don't know. Okay. Top results. Oh, I have to like do all of them. I guess. I don't know. I can just not sign in for it later, I guess. Although I don't know, I probably shouldn't do this on stream because of like it shows a password or something. Let's see if there's other options too. I mean, there's like these like general jobs. Okay, here's the government. Let's see. So find. Okay, this takes us to the same website. Cool. Okay, so here's like the. Cool. Okay. Okay, so this is the database of, I imagine, at least state positions. If we limit to like city, is that, although, response is real. Is this like by the government? The retail sales clerk? Like, if so, again, like, I think that would fall within the parameters of what we're looking at. Because, again, that's like something that we could legislate more directly. Is kind of the reason why I'm looking at these like public jobs, really, as these civic service jobs. Both because, they, also because they, constitute a pretty important time to make sure that you can actually speak the language. Because usually when you're dealing with those kind of jobs, it's for like more sensitive issues. But also because, it is, you can legislate it more directly. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess because, yeah. I mean, the Utah special that we have a Department of Alcoholic Beverage Services. That's funny. Anyway, most spirit agency state. That's really funny that they're able to say that. Okay, but that's all to say that I think that these are at least state government jobs. I'm also just trying to see if this is including municipal jobs. So like jobs by the government of Salt Lake City, particularly. Or if it's just state jobs within Salt Lake City. Like groundskeeper. Let's see, like, is this a state-owned facilities? Yeah. I think these might be state positions. Which again, it's like, it's something at least. It's better than just looking at federal positions for sure. But let's see if there is like Salt Lake municipal jobs. Yeah, and then Salt Lake City itself has, I guess we'll just triple check, but it looks like it has a separate internal career center. Oh no, current external applicants. Okay. Yeah. Because I think these are also some pretty important jobs. Like, I mean, yeah, like judges, like, that's pretty important to include within our sample. And again, like, it's not the end of the world for like, again, a single state, right? You can like get some of their bigger cities. But like scaling that up to the entire country is not super feasible, I guess. Or it's going to take a lot of time. And at that point, I have to kind of consider like, okay, like, is it worth the data we're going to get out of it? Because like, I don't want to just like, you know, I mean, like one way to somewhat, again, like systematize it, right? Like basically one way to make it tractable, right? The problem is to just look at like the largest cities or the counties with the largest population, and or largest first couple counties with the largest population, right, in each state, and then just take that as like, oh, that's good enough. But like that is for sure introducing bias, because it's for sure that's gonna be like totally ignoring rural areas, which if I can avoid, I'd like to. I mean, we could look at, most Spanish speakers, or, most people who speak foreign languages. Again, like, I don't know absolutely 100%, but like, I think common sense would tell me that they're in urban areas largely. But one, there are, non-English speakers not in rural areas, especially places like, Texas, California. And two, like rural areas are like, they're an important part of considering if it's something's worthwhile for the entire government, right? To do something, just to only care about the cities and urban environments. I mean, that's like a larger philosophical, ideological thing. But for me, I feel like it's important to try to equally consider, basically not ignore those people and their needs, and, any changes you make, that would require, I mean, because imagine, again, this is all super speculative right now. So I want to, again, keep putting that out there. My hypothesis and my gut would, and just common sense is that, like, if we were to require bilingualism for different positions, that's going to put like a greater load on like the taxpayer in some small way, but in a way, right? I think those positions, you'd have to incentivize them in some way, like they'd probably take longer to be filled. They'd be more competitive because they're more limited. Again, it's all just like super, just not research. It's just my gut, my intuition. But I'm pretty sure that would all ultimately lead to like all the taxpayers needing to pay more for any of these changes, which is all to say, we need to make sure that we're including rural areas. And again, like, there's some important positions being only looked at a municipal level. Again, I have up on the screen a judge, and like, I feel like that is, our criminal justice system is a pretty important place to have language considerations, which, there are, like, there are interpreters, and, like it's not like completely without, but that is also true for all of these jobs we're looking at. So it's still very much at the heart of our question. Man alive. This is a good one. This is a tricky situation. Like, at this point, I'm like, honestly, again, like, I think this is one of the bigger problems I've encountered as a researcher so far, which is exciting, but also daunting, right? I mean, one answer is like, oh, I just bit off more than I can chew, which is probably true. But that doesn't mean that we can't learn and still try to tackle it. And that at least attempting to do so wouldn't be valuable. And we might be able to figure it out, which would be really, really cool, I think. But that's leading me to feel like I might need some like outside help to like really get an idea of like best practices for how to deal with this scale of an issue. Because again, I can kind of sit here all day and try to think up solutions. But like some of those might be like okay, but I guess I'm just worried that like I'd run the risk of again like missing something because I'm a human. And fortunately, as an independent researcher, it's not people aren't like relying on me, but I want to still produce the highest quality work I can. Sorry, it's just like a ton of thoughts. Hopefully this is engaging and interesting to hear this, this thought process. But so again, I'm thinking like maybe. So I'm fortunate that I'm working. I maybe should have mentioned this too, but I'm currently working right now as a math tutor for the University of Utah. That's like my current job. And because of that, I have some really meaningful benefits and privileges. So like for one, I mentioned it yesterday, but again, that VOD wasn't recorded, but I have access like their library and the search engine and the article access that they have the university pays for, which is a huge privilege that I recognize is one of those barriers I mentioned at the very, very beginning to conducting academic research. So on the other hand, like while I have access to it, I think that I should make use of it. To not like artificially shoot myself in the foot, but that's all to say that I think I would also have. I think any of you, if any of you are watching, I think that it would be you could at least reach out to like your local university. And what I'm planning on doing, I think at this point, is reaching out to like an expert in the thing you're interested in. So like I might just shoot out some emails to different economists at the University of Utah and see if any of them would be willing to talk with me, like meet with me and talk through some of these issues and give me some advice on how to address them. Again, unfortunately, I think there is some barrier for the average person if you don't have access to university, internal to the university in some capacity. Like you probably run a greater risk of just being ignored. But from my experience, inside the university, you still do run the risk of being ignored. But it is still a barrier. Just want to acknowledge that. Okay. So I think that's my game plan for dealing with some of those larger issues, those like more abstract issues. So just kind of bringing it all the heck the way back to what we're going to be doing for today, for the rest of our time. Just thinking how to best use this time. Because again, I can kind of set up the code to, that's going to be a headache and a half. Sorry, I keep getting on these, I feel like important side tracks, which again, I think are, at least for me, very indicative of the research process. But it's going to be a headache and a half we can't just like standardize our web scraper, right? We have to you have to like really build it for the site that you're scraping each time, which already for just state websites is going to be a lot of work. State and provinces, it's like, 60, 65 different like bespoke web scrapers I need to build. Gee, unfortunately, that seems pretty fast once you know how to build it, but still. But again, as soon as you introduce like any capacity of trying to capture municipal jobs, that becomes quite, I think it just becomes like infeasible at that point for a single person at least. And so, I don't know, maybe we just have to limit the scope for research, at least for right now, limit the scope to just federal and state, or provincial for Canada positions. And just like have the huge, bold, italicized asterisk next to everything we're doing that we're missing, again, some like very important positions. I think it's what we'll have to do for today. And from there, we'll just kind of keep moving. Yeah, all right. we'll just go with that. So, okay, all right. This is all. Also, again, I mentioned this yesterday, but apologies if you have a pet peeve about too many tabs open. I'm pretty bad with that, but I try when I can when I realize. Okay, all right. So. Yeah. All right. So let's go with, again, this is like the larger data bank than the other Canadian federal government job we're looking at. Although for the federal, hang on, for the federal government, I also have to look it up again. For the federal government, I think there's like 300 something. Jobs on that website, in that data bank. Find government jobs. Job types, organization. Okay, I'm pretty sure these are federal organizations. Yeah, federal for Ontario. Again, this isn't super rigorous. I'm just kind of trying to get a base, just, like all ports. Like this had, Montreal specific, but yeah, federal government. Okay, yeah. So yeah, I think all of these are federal jobs. So again, we'll have to go through the different provinces. Like we will have to do for the states in the US. So again, just which one to use. Let's see. So if we just do federal government, is there just some like very heuristics, just like seeing if it looks like there's much overlap. So, I mean, these are like federal departments. So I guess we'll just look up, like, is there radio communications technologists listed on this site? Yeah, okay. So they are double dipping. So if we're already if we're going to commit to just looking at provincial jobs separately, then I think we should probably use this. This seems like it seems like they are double dipping. It's not unique. And this one has more results for just federal jobs than this website. So cool. There's our answer. So, okay. Yeah, I think this is, okay. It's just kind of a really nasty URL, but that's okay. Okay, but unfortunately, we have to kind of rebuild our scraper a little bit, but fortunately, I think that it should be pretty similar. Like our skills should definitely carry over. Let's see. So this is our new massive website. Cool. Yeah, again, we'll probably have to kind of redo all that, which is a bummer. Which is a pretty big bummer, but that's okay. Okay, so we need to go through and save it. Save it again. And then go back and do everything we just did. Cool, okay. Yeah, we'll just have to undo that. Let's see. Okay, cool. And then now that that's saved, we will read it in. And we will go through the process again of now figuring out how this website organizes its data. So let's see. Cool. So the body, and then the main, and then this. Again, seriously, huge shout outs for, I guess it might just be Chrome, I guess, Google, but for doing the highlighting makes this so much nicer. To, so much more parsable for someone who's not that experienced with it. Okay. Okay, so it looks like the last time they have an ID, which is really nice for us. I'm working with the previous website because you can just jump straight to the ID and keep going down from there. Is this search results? So again, we'll just Canada soup, not coup. Don't worry, we're totally. Let's see. Select. Select. And then it was # and the ID. So # search results. Cool. And then, so we're inside here now. And then just, we can do .poster info. So looks like one of the classes it's listed as. Is that camel case? Yeah. And then, yeah, I think that should print off the list of, here, I'll just see what those look like just to. Okay, we'll have to index further, but we'll just see if that's the list at least of each of these different results. Okay. Let's do it. Nope. Okay. Oh, postert. There we go. Nope. Okay. poser, poster, there, potster, spelling, take a beat. Cool. All right. Nope. Okay. Here, let's just do search results first. Just break it down. Okay. All right. Candidate jobs. Okay. Should have double checked. Okay. So I might be running into a similar issue with the US jobs, which is super fun to kind of feel like you're kind of back at square one, but at least, by doing the work we did yesterday, we now know the work we actually really need to be doing. Okay. So, let's see. I'll try running it one more time just to see. Oh, actually, also, I should have done this sooner, but I need to also check out what the robots file is for this new website. Again, I need to get in that habit of doing that first thing before I throw a URL into my program, my code. If it's going to load. Okay, if I just go back to the site that I came from, maybe that'll have, it's a different site, but hopefully, okay, yeah, this is a pretty beefy robot. Again, this is a different site, so I just want to make sure I'm respecting their shoot, I closed it. Just try it one more time, I guess. I don't know. There's a little redundancy for you. I feel bad. Maybe I'll just look up web scraping site without robots.txt. No, not how to bypass. There we go. Boop. Okay. Purpose is to keep crawlers out, not having one to result in all of your content being indexed. Okay. So I guess that's the etiquette, is that if you don't have one, it's kind of free game. Okay. Dang it, I keep closing that out. Let's see. There we go. Okay. Okay, but anyway, sorry, that was a sidetrack. Again, I need to just double check if this candidate jobs. Yeah. Page is being updated. Let's look into that. Maybe just like loading and then our code like grabs it before it's ready, kind of a thing. Oh, cool. Yeah, they do TQDM. Okay. I just was seeing if this guide, if Brendan's guide had any guidance for us. But it looks like not, again, it's like kind of the basics of it. And yeah, it's like actually analyzing the data. So yeah, this is like the scraper up through this point. Okay, so I'll just Google web scraper wait for page to load. Cool. I need to get the source. Okay. The middle page takes less than 1 second. Catches the before it loads. Okay. Looks like the element is being created with JavaScript. Okay, we had this recommendation to use Selenium. So I guess we just, let's see if, here's the page, cool. Let's see what theirs looks like. Oh, that doesn't exist anymore. Okay. I'll just look at ours then. If like JavaScript shows up anywhere in the flow to wherever we want to be. Java. Filter. Let's see. I could have sworn that I could like search through this yesterday. Oh, there it is. Okay. This wasn't selecting the right thing. So that's the head. Let's see, where else does it show up? It's still within the head. Okay, still in the head. Okay, now we're in the body. Let's close everything on the head. Okay, so that's still not where we're looking. Okay, I think this is the issue. Again, I don't know for sure, but this seems to be saying this is like what's executing the job search is a JavaScript. So that seems like this might be the appropriate solution then. Okay, cool. So let's figure out how this Selenium package works, as well as Phantom.js, I guess. That looks like it's just a method from Selenium. So cool. Let's install that. Selenium. Oh, I forgot I installed it yesterday. Well, that's okay. All right, now let's figure out how this thing actually works. So we're importing this thing called WebDriver. So let's see. From Selenium import WebDriver. I think it was camel case. Nope, all lowercase. And then, so yeah, we're gonna have to like, it's gonna be in lieu of that line. So we like instantiate this browser object. Again, just for the remaining time we have, I won't dive too deep into, especially my computer's gonna die kind of soon, but I won't dive too deep into, really getting into the weeds of like what everything is. But so yeah, we're creating this browser object and then using it. Interesting. And then like it puts it inside this browser object. Okay. equals web driver dot, what do they call it? Phantom. Thank you. You can go away now. Okay. Phantom.js. Phantom.js. That's the method. And then, okay. Here, I don't know. I'll just copy it. Sorry if that's annoying in the scrolling back and forth. Okay. And so once they have that, then they do .get, and then we're calling it Canada URL. And then okay, and then this is where we should save it. This is like the thing we want to save. So again, we don't spam the website with requests. But yeah, so the thing that they call HTML down here, we're gonna put that in. So browser, the Canada browser, dot page source, and then we should be able to go from there. Everything else should be the same. But yeah, let's see if that's saved. The HTML that it's saving looks like. Whoop. All right, we really have Selenium installed thrice over. There we go. Okay. Let's see. Has no attribute Phantom.js. How old is the? This is 20. Okay, this might be kind of outdated. Okay, well, let's see. Web scrape JavaScript, or not with JavaScript, that might be confusing. Account for JavaScript. I don't know. Let's see. This doesn't seem like the best thread. Here, I'll just look up, I guess, how Selenium works. Selenium documentation. Python, Selenium, web scraping. Okay. Let's see. Nope. Okay, it still looks like the best thread, but that's okay. So maybe you have to like configure it to the source you want and then just throw in the driver. So instead, driver, and the driver just directly gets the URL. And then hopefully that page source is still accurate. Let's see. So that's returning a string seems to be the issue. So it's returning a string. And I guess this is looking for like a bytes-like object, which we went through yesterday, which is cool. It might be coming up, but that's this is just taken from, again, Brendan Martin's guide, just directly. But this is like giving permission to write, but then only like in terms of like byte-like things, which like kind of keeps the formatting more precise, but that might not work for this implementation. So I'm just seeing if what it's like printing. Okay, yeah, so that is just, so if I get rid of that byte, is it then okay with that? And does that break like our soup later? Okay, so I did save it. But it didn't, we're still running into the issue that it needs to like wait or something. Verify browser settings. Yeah, it seems a little too specific for what we're actually interested in. Let's see. I mean, honestly, Geeks for Geeks might be the level that we're looking for. Again, just for the stream, won't be doing that right now. If I can, I mean, it's still some ads, I guess. Zoom in a little. Okay. HTML program. So Selenium is the automation software testing tool that obtains the website, performs various actions, or obtains the data from the website. Making tedious work interesting. Okay. That's not that useful. Okay. So this seems not the most useful guide in the land. Because do I have to do that? Okay, maybe I just need to like time it out for a sec before I save what's contained in the object. So let's see. It's like, how long does it take to load? If I just like reload, maybe it's not. Maybe the Chrome is doing some heavy lifting for us, but it just seems instantaneous. But so let's just make it sleep for 2 seconds. What are you doing? From time is good. Just time.sleep. Import time. Okay. See, what are we doing here? I'm gonna make it sleep for a while so I can see what's happening. I mean, it's convenient it pulls it up for us, honestly. The Selenium is doing that, but okay. This page is being updated. Please wait. Oh, okay. It just was taking longer to load. Okay. Let's see if that's good enough then. I'll just I mean, it's going to kind of suck if we have to do that. I mean, I guess it's just building in almost. Oh, here, just, it's still waiting for the, cool. Just waiting for that timer to run out, which was a little silly of me that I'd set it that long. But, okay, I think we're back. Okay. So Python 3, cool. And it loads, and then, okay. And then it closes it, and then hopefully it saves it now. Session timeout warning. Job search, hang on. Okay, if I just like print, I don't know if that save HTML is working with this new, again, this new scraper. So I'm just going to print this and see if it's happy with that. So it loaded, and let's see. Yeah. Is that, hang on, okay, wait, that's like way farther down. Yeah, okay. Okay, yeah, it's getting it. So again, I just don't know how to incorporate that with, again, this idea of, for good etiquette, not just requesting it once and then saving that. Because, I mean, this should just be like, I think there's nothing fancy about this as being an HTML. I think it should just like, it's just like how you write to files. Like, I don't know. I'll give it a little bit more time, and like I'll even delete this just to make sure like it actually is like writing something new. Because again, this is like what we want, at least as a string, which I might not be happy with, but let's see. So I'm just giving it even longer, just like really make sure that we didn't like catch it on the very edge or anything. And then it should have saved it. So here, just close all of those. I might have been looking at the wrong one before. Okay, cool. Okay. Heck yeah. Okay. Heck yeah. Great. Cool. All of the good exclamations. Okay, cool. So we have finally freaking successfully read in that new page we're interested in. And so now we can try to do the parsing of it. Okay. And so again, before issue was that it actually didn't parse it well. Heck to the yeah. Okay, cool. Again, we're always get these buzzer beaters of like some progress being made. I might go a little over just to finish out, to not stop the momentum, right as we're getting it going. But we'll be finishing up pretty soon for today. Okay, so let's see. So we are at the point we're like here, or no, we're not. oh yeah, we are here. And then now we need the class. Not the class, brain. Poster info. And then that should now be just directly the list of what we actually care about. Let's see. I believe so, but we'll just print off the first of the list just to make it a little bit simpler to read. So does that line up with the salary that we have? Do we need to reload? It's a salary. 71. Interesting. I wonder if I read it backward. No. Oh, okay. There's only one. Okay, we need to go down one more layer. Keep reloading. Is there some quick way? Nope. There might be, but that's not it, at least. Just a quick way to access the thing we're interested in, but it's okay. We can just do this again. Okay. And then when we do select, it's like dot search result. Yeah, that's what they're calling the object. Then that should give us the list of just the things we actually care about. Let's see. Okay, and then let's just double check. Cool. So what I was looking for is this tiny little bracket indicates that this is a list. It's reading as a list, which is good. That's what we want. Because before, we just like giving the list as just like an object, just like one thing we can't index through. And so now that it is a list, now if we get the first entry from it, it should line up, with the first search result. Cool. Okay, so 2 full hours to get back to exactly the same point that we were at after the start, when we started the stream. But it's not actually the same point, because this is actually useful to us now, because this is going to actually give us the data we want. Yeah, man. I guess that's research sometimes, at least for me right now. Maybe, lessons, or I maybe should have thought a little bit harder about, again, like this, what exactly the data is that I needed to get. Like that's just kind of something I'll keep in my pocket, is just, maybe just taking that extra little step to think through in the abstract. Okay, like what do I actually need, right? What will actually be useful to me? And then you can save yourself some work. But I don't know, man. I mean, again, the work we did yesterday was really useful, because I was able to much more readily just kind of get back into it. So I genuinely hope that was interesting to you. I mean, especially, again, I hope that most, that good chunk of us like talking through those issues, and kind of putting our finger on some of the difficulties of this project was meaningful and interesting. Because to me, that's some of the real secret sauce of doing research is, knowing the questions to ask, or knowing what the problem actually is, right? Because I don't know, for me, I can fall into the trap of just like trying to implement solutions right away, when, again, clearly, like I don't fully have the problem. But there's a balance, right? Of sometimes it's hard to know what the problem is until you start just trying to work with it a little bit. So I would dissuade you from just trying to sit in, a room and just think about all of the ways it can go wrong and all of the things that you need to do to fix it, like fully before you jump in. Especially for independent research, like if you're applying to grants, obviously think through all the details. But if for your own purpose, like basically, if that's going to prevent you from just like getting started, I would say just get started first, and then once you have some momentum, then maybe then take some more time to think through those issues. But thank you for joining me today. Again, I hope I have the setting right now so that this VOD is actually saved, so that, for the people who watch, you don't have to hear me reintroduce myself every single stream. And so that, again, this resource will be available for people who weren't able to make it today. But we made some progress today. And so I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day, and thanks for tuning in. I don't know. I know rating is a part of Twitch culture. As we keep going, I won't do it for now because I don't know if it's part of this project, if that will be that useful for this project. But let me know what your thoughts are about rating if you're not that familiar. If it's your first time on like Twitch or something. It's just at the end of a stream, it's almost like etiquette. I mean, it's just kind of a nice thing to do for other streamers, where you kind of segue your stream into someone else's, right? You kind of dump all of your viewers into their stream. And again, like, I don't know if that will be part of this project or not. At least maybe just start, but because I don't know other streamers who are doing exactly this kind of thing. So it'd be like dumping into like a game, video game stream, which I'm a fan of, but might not be exactly what you're looking for. So we'll keep you posted on your thoughts on that. And anyways, again, thank you so much for being with me today, and I'll catch y'all tomorrow. Same time, same place. Again, 10 a.m. to noon Mountain Daylight Time, which is again like 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Pacific Time, noon to 2 Eastern Standard Time. So, yeah, thanks for joining me. Have a good one.